Get some questions to that.
Yeah, I do have a list of questions. All right, Steve, what's up?
Hi. This is live.
Yeah, it's like
I think we are live. Are we?
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome. So I'm sitting with a very special friend of mine, Steve, right now with me. And just to let you know, guys, Steve is a techie guy. He's a hardcore techie. He understands blockchain and he's building a couple of things on blockchain already. And he's already built a product called CryptoControl, which is basically an application which lets you manage your portfolio at the same time, keeps you updated with all the news and sentiments. This is something that I keep doing on my channel. So I think that's the better way of getting updated. So do check that out. But Steve, how have you been, man?
So much, Shiv. Guys, welcome. It's so awesome to be part of this crypto family, and I think we might learn a lot. India is growing. Everyone wants Bitcoins. And, we have met a lot of Indian exchanges.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of interesting things happening. A lot of delays, a lot of raids by the IT department and everything. So we can answer a lot of questions, guys. I think it's going to be really cool conversation.
Yeah. So just in case if you have any that on the comment, I mean, we may not be able to answer all of your questions, but we will try and pick up some questions that we can. What about you? Would you like to?
Yeah, so I'm basically a developer for the product CryptoControl, and
Alright,
I
cool.
work with blockchain and crypto technologies. So like it's very great.
Great. So you keep meeting these. I mean, you have met a couple of guys from exchanges, from Indian exchanges, and there was a lot of talk about the recent survey which was done on by income tax on these different cities. And there were a lot of rumors. I mean, people thought that. I mean, what exactly are the Bitcoin exchanges are going to be banned? Things like that. So what are their reactions if you spoke to them? What are their reaction and what are they saying?
So the Indian government is still pretty much they take a long time. There are numerous people I've met who have said that just bringing regulations for Bitcoin is going to take a lot of time. And so it's still going to be in a gray area, even though there's a lot of ICOs happening, a lot of we know that there's a lot of people who are converting their black to Bitcoins. You know, so it is a pressing concern, but they still need to understand the technology. And so now, what's happening with the RBI is that by the tone of whatever press releases and whatever statements they've made, it looks like they are looking to ban it. But I think it's much better if they would rather tax it. If they tax Bitcoin, even at 30%, and if you're paying 30% tax, it's still better in the sense that at least Bitcoin is legalized. So right now they're still undecided. It's still a gray area, so you guys can make your money as soon as possible.
But I do have an opinion that probably one of the reasons these guys wanted to visit these Bitcoin exchanges is because they wanted to find out a way as to how they can tax people on this. Considering Bitcoin essentially cannot be banned. I mean, you cannot really stop Bitcoin protocol. So I think they are just trying to figure out as to what are the measures, what are the ways that they can tax people. And this was one of the reasons they wanted to understand whether the exchanges are doing the KYC and things like that. So I do hope that they come up with some. So one of the good news that I actually read this morning was that SEBI was talking about regulating these ICOs and stuff like that. There are a lot of Ponzi schemes right now which are running, which take away your Bitcoin and give you some false tokens which does not exist. So looking at this news from SEBI, now SEBI went ahead and said that, listen, if there are any such Ponzi schemes, then I'm really going to be very strict. Rather than Ponzi schemes, instead of targeting the Bitcoin, which I think is about that.
Well, so it's great. There's so they still the main issue. One of the issues is yes, Ponzi schemes and people converting black to bitcoins. Tax evasion and whatnot, right? Tax evasion, money laundering. These are the things that the SEBI is not so cool with. What also the main one of the major worries with Bitcoin is that it really, Bitcoin just recently crossed of the total Indian rupee in circulation. It's a threat. It's a threat to the Indian rupee, which is why market will not like it, right? They will not. But let's hope they tax it. I just hope they do. Black money, but then black money, Ponzi schemes, and all these things. There are stuff. The bad things that come with something that has a lot of benefits, anonymity, trust, bringing out, removing. But at the same time, it can also be used for, again, money laundering, Ponzi schemes, black market, etc., etc.
All right. So recently there was a news about. So we all talk about CME futures trading, right? Which is happening. I mean, about last week, CME started. Are they in a way trying to legitimize Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies? Because bringing it on the Wall Street is itself is a big news.
Yes. So here's the cool thing, right? Futures, if you're not familiar with, is a type of financial tool that well, it's typically used by the Wall Street guys. It's typically used by the big guys with a lot of money, and of course, most of crypto traders we meet, put in very small money, right? So the introduction of futures for Bitcoin is great because at least now it's sort of like a statement to the general public that what Bitcoin is an asset. It's something that you can trade. You recognize it, and that's great news. Um, why did CBOE or CME decided to list Bitcoin? Is I think probably they might see more traction. Bitcoin is right now hot, so it probably makes sense for them to list it as futures. But then it's great, I think at least it shows that people are accepting it. Ironically, Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he or she is, designed Bitcoin to be something that will not be used by any financial institutions, and ironically, today we are seeing the Wall Street guys adopt it.
True.
But I think it's good news, right? I think it's good news because uh, it, you know, my mother is now. My mother wants Bitcoin, and she is a person who's not at all tech savvy.
Yeah.
I think it's a message that says that what crypto is here to stay. It is recognized. It's not a fad. So yeah.
So I think this is one of the reasons the price has really spiked up over the last 1 month. I mean, I was expecting the Bitcoin price to be hitting anything around probably 10 or 12K. No, mostly 10. But look at the price today. It's almost $19,000.
Yes.
Nobody actually expected this. And this actually all came in because of this Wall Street trades. So
It's partially that, but it's also something we need to understand about. It's basics of demand and supply.
true.
If you have something that if you have a limited supply of something and ever increasing demand, then people will pay more for it, right? The Bitcoin has a very limited supply. There are right now 16 million Bitcoins or so
In circulation.
in circulation, and every 4 years the number of Bitcoins that come into the system decrease, right? Which means that the number of Bitcoins in the entire world decreases. So it's increasing the supply of Bitcoins decrease exponentially, right? Now, that's okay as long as the price is going to stay the same if there's decreasing demand as well. The thing is that there's no decreasing demand, there's increasing demand. Increasing demand to the likes we have never seen, right? And which means now decreasing supply, increasing demand means higher prices.
So I want to take your opinion, Steve. So see, a lot of people will still call Bitcoin a bubble, but the
Yes.
way that I look at it is not really a bubble. It's basically an adoption phase, because people are more and more people are adopting Bitcoin right now because they know what Bitcoin is capable of. Bitcoin basically makes you your own bank, makes you your own payment system. I mean, you don't have to be dependent on a traditional bank and things like that. And that is why everybody wants to abort this thing, this thing called Bitcoin. And as more and more people abort, eventually the price is going up. And the reason it shot up really high because of the awareness right now. I mean, just look at the number of people who are aware of Bitcoin today and the number of people who are aware of this last year. I mean, today I hear from everybody, oh, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Every teenager is talking about it. Every youngster is talking about Bitcoin. So as the more awareness, is there, the people are going to come in. And I think that is the only reason why the price has spiked up. So what do you think? The sudden spike of the price, is it? Are we actually heading towards a crash or something? Do you actually see genuinely an adoption phase of
So
Bitcoin?
they can be small. In my opinion, they can be small corrections, right? Meaning, if suddenly assume we're 19,000 today, and then tomorrow suddenly we hit 25, correction that goes to 20, 21, whatever it is, right? So, but I don't think it will ever go down to 1,000 or
True.
5,000 or 10,000 level anymore, because um, people who have invested into Bitcoin, right? They're not just regular investors. They have a vested interest in keeping the price of Bitcoin high. And one of the people that are one specific kind of people are the miners. Miners are people who dedicate, who have put in millions of dollars, or millions of dollars in buying mining hardware, and so they are the people who kind of who have a vested interest in seeing Bitcoin grow, and so it's not like I doubt if Bitcoin goes to 5,000 levels, you will have a ton of people who will try to buy it at that level, and it might just come back out of 5,000. So there's a lot of people with vested interest to keep the price of Bitcoin high, which is why I don't think it's going to be a bubble and it's going to drop down. It is not just traders. There are also miners who control the price of Bitcoin.
True, true. So just to give you guys a heads up, do try to keep your Bitcoins on your personal wallet. Don't try to store them on exchanges, especially on Indian exchanges or maybe international exchanges, because exchanges are prone to hack and so many other things. So as long as you're keeping your Bitcoins on your personal wallet, even if there is a ban or something like that happens, which could be a temporary ban or may not be a ban at all, but that at least you are not affected because you're not keeping them on exchanges and things like that. And one of the most important thing I do think is taking care of your crypto assets, let it be your Bitcoin, Ethereum, and things like that. Uh, so yeah, do make sure that you're keeping them safe because that's the biggest threat. As long if you're able to keep them in a hardware wallet or something like that, I think that's really important. So now, so Steve is somebody who understands technology. I'm gonna talk to him about Ethereum. So, what do you think about Ethereum, Steve? What's your take on Ethereum? Because a lot of people still have a confusion: should I go for Bitcoin? Should I go for Ethereum? But I think there are two different solutions. There are two different problems that they're solving. So, talk us a little bit about Ethereum. What's your take on Ethereum and yours for that matter as well? And a couple of other projects also that you're very fascinated with, which you think will be bringing a lot of change in coming near future.
Got it. So Ethereum is just so if you're not familiar with cryptocurrencies, think of Bitcoin like gold, and Litecoin as your silver. Ethereum is your what can you say? It can be your it can be like your Amazon AWS. So essentially Ethereum is a crypto is a kind of crypto coin that lets you run programs on top of it. So essentially in 2011, a bunch of guys wanted to see, Bitcoin is, they came together and they said, what, Bitcoin is great, blockchain is amazing, but what if we could do more things with it, and what if we could do something more like running programs on top of Bitcoin? But then, 50% of the people said that, what, we don't want that to happen. We want Bitcoin to stay Bitcoin. And 50% of the people said that, no, we want Bitcoin to do more things, And that bunch of people that wanted Bitcoin to do more things decided to create Ethereum. Now, Ethereum is a blockchain technology, right? It is something, it's like Bitcoin, but rather than just sending, Bitcoins to one person to another or sending Ether to one person to another, you can run programs as well. And so these programs are called smart contracts, but whatever you call them, basically they are just pieces of code that are in the blockchain. And you can do things like you can write code to handle money from one person to another. You can write code to crowdfund yourself, which is what an ICO is on Ethereum. And as far as the price is concerned, Ethereum is one of the most uh, when it started out, it was one of the most innovative technologies of its time. So Ethereum is here to stay. I think there's a lot of value in Ethereum. There are some issues with Ethereum right now, but in the long term, of course, I see more and more people using it.
You heard about CryptoKitties?
Yes. So
What's your take on that? I actually did a video on CryptoKitties.
oh, you find so your audience knows.
Yeah. So what happened is that one thing that we did find out about Ethereum is it's not scaled enough. Because there was a lot of network congestion. I mean, today also you cannot buy a cat. It's that I have created an account, but I could not buy a kitty. So yeah. So how do you think the Ethereum will take up the challenge? Because I see a lot of ICOs being building up their platform on Ethereum. So here's a real challenge for Ethereum today. So if for those projects they need to be successful, this Ethereum has to scale up.
Ethereum has a scale up. Vitalik, the Russian kid, the founder of Ethereum, has released white papers. He has released a paper called Casper, which is a sort of like an upgrade for Ethereum that lets it scale. The thing with Ethereum is that right now you cannot. It is slowing down. There's a lot of congestion, network congestion. And CryptoKitties is it's good and it's bad for Ethereum, but it's good in many ways for Ethereum, but bad in the sense that Ethereum is facing the bottleneck.
True.
But which is why Shiv, as you mentioned, there's this thing called EOS, which is something
I'm very
a big fan of. EOS is a technology like Ethereum, but it is something that lets smart contracts scale essentially. Meaning, right now Ethereum faces a bottleneck where it can process let's say X number of transactions per second. EOS is a technology, is a coin, it's a blockchain technology that lets you do not X, but possibly 1000X, 50,000X. So it's really a scalable version of Ethereum. And that's great because right now Ethereum is not scaling. Right now we're facing issues with uh, doing ICOs or creating or writing programs. And so yeah, EOS is something really cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons it has been picking up. And definitely for people who are looking out to invest, I think it's gone up at least double the
It's
price.
now like
$8, I guess.
Yeah.
$8-9, right?
Yeah. So
which is great.
We were fortunate to get EOS
Yeah.
before it was $1.
Yeah. So I think because I was very interested in yours because of Dan Larimer, because he built up this BitShares and then he built up this Steamy platform, which is social media like a kind of Facebook on the blockchain. So I knew that he's definitely doing
He's
something
also the
amazing.
inventor of POS,
US.
delegated proof of stake.
Wow. Okay. Amazing. So
So EOS is I love EOS right now because I think one of the things. So people talk about Bitcoin being a few cents in 2011, and it's now $19,000 right now. It's so expensive, right? But the thing is that when you're an early adopter for many technologies, or an early adopter for a promising technology, and you invest into it, you do make a lot of money out of it if the technology takes off.
100%.
And so even today, EOS is still a good coin because it's still not yet. They have a roadmap of 4 milestones, out of which they accomplished 2 so far. Meaning there are 2 more milestones before EOS actually launches. And if you're seeing the hype right now, I think it can possibly go higher. Yeah. So I would suggest that be an early adopter for many of these technologies and invest into them in the right time. EOS is still a good investment in my opinion.
I do think so. Because it's only about $8. I see a lot of ICOs launching their tokens at about $2, $3, which I find very expensive, honestly.
Right.
Because I have not participated into any of the ICOs, and I have done many, which are tokens have more than $2, $3. Because that for me is very expensive, until I really see some great potential in the technology and things like
So
that.
see, you should not look at if the token is $2 or $3.
Yeah.
What you really should look at is the market cap
Right.
of the token. Meaning,
Correct.
I mean, you wouldn't invest into Bitcoin if you couldn't afford one whole Bitcoin. You would invest into Bitcoin if you saw that in the next, let's say, 2 years, you're going to double your investment. So a lot of these tokens, they actually promise you that, although holding one token itself is very expensive. So you should look at the market cap, and because you can buy like 0.00, how much ever 8 zeros, 0.0001
Correct. Yeah.
of a token. It implies that it's very flexible in that sense, right? So yeah.
So also, Steve, tell us what are the other projects that you're very like, for example, PAT. I was reading PAT tokens about it.
Yeah, basic attention tokens.
Basically, what do you think about that? And a couple of other projects that you think have technologically are well driven and you think have a good.
So if you're looking at good coins to invest, the top five in coin market cap are the best. Ripple is amazing. Ripple is the for remittance for interbank transactions. Ethereum, well, the coin for decentralized computing. Bitcoin, the gold, the cryptocurrencies, the gold of cryptocurrencies. Litecoin, the silver of cryptocurrencies, gold and silver, right? And EOS, the scalable version of Ethereum. Monero, the privacy-focused coin. IOTA, IoT-based coins. So like there are so many coins out there. The ones that are on the top list on CoinMarketCap are the ones that actually have really good value.
I think that's really important, especially for somebody who's just getting started into cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin space. I would suggest not really to get into those ICOs and stuff like that.
No, the ICOs.
Rather,
so the ICOs. So a lot of these ICOs don't get implemented. They don't have. They will not. Their roadmap is out by 2020 or 2022, which is very very risky. And so I would, even if it's an ICO, if the technology is promising, and for that you need to go through their white paper, go through their website, the team, the code, and everything, right? And see if the team actually has, the capability of executing. If your fundamentals are right with most of these coins, then yeah, you will make money out of it.
True. True. So tell me something about the crypto control application that you've been building up.
Right.
What exactly is the idea of crypto control? What's your objective? What's your mission? What is it that you want to give out?
Well, so if you're a crypto enthusiast, like how we all of us are, and as more and more people are becoming crypto-verse people, it's very hard for you to keep track of particular coins. So, for example, like Shiv mentioned, I'm a big fan of EOS. I love EOS to the core, and for me to keep track of EOS, I need to follow Dan Lanimer on Twitter. I need to follow Steemit. I need to follow the EOS blog. So for me, it's for any person who wants to track their own coin, it's very very hard. You need to go through different places and process all their information. And so CryptoControl is basically a website that kind of aggregates news and social media in one place. There's a mobile app and a website, so you can just go to the website cryptocontrol.io,
Right.
and there's a feed which gives you a sort of all gives you lists all the different articles, Reddit posts, tweets for a particular coin, categorized by coin. So the real value add here is that we are going through we are going through we are going through as much as news sources as we can, and we are picking out articles that mention or talk about a certain coin, and we're categorizing that for you. All of this is free, of course, and we really believe that if you can keep up to date, get news for the coins that you like, then you can make better investment decisions on it.
100%, I would agree with that. And so this is what I liked about crypto control, because there are only few apps which actually let you. Because I know that once you are into cryptocurrency, you are into cryptocurrencies. So you're investing into Bitcoin, you're investing into Ethereum, you're investing into ICOs, and at times it becomes so difficult to. At times you forget, where did I invest?
Well, yeah.
Or do I even have any holdings? So I think
it's not just that.
Yeah.
It's also where do you invest and how are my investments doing? If you invested in, let's say, hypothetically 5 coins, right? If you're invested in 5 coins, how do you track what people are talking about those 5 coins, right? Where do you get a news feed of all those 5 coins together? That's what CryptoControl does. It's a news app. It's a news aggregator for cryptocurrencies. So yeah,
That's amazing. So we can leave the link in the description below, guys. It's available on Google Play Store.
it's available on Google and Apple.
Absolutely.
And iOS, and it's also this website as well for people like
CryptoControl.com. So it's very similar to
.io.
IO.
Okay. CryptoControl.io. Okay, that's it. So very similar to Money Control. Go ahead and check that out. What do you want to say about CryptoControl, or tell me about your journey about cryptocurrency so far?
Yeah, so like for me, it's been a great. Like I just started. Like I have like many people. I had only just heard about cryptocurrencies, like Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin is growing in prices. Like, but when I got into like cryptocurrencies and look at it, like the technology and the like the things they promise this technology, like they are world changing. Like, a world is gonna change because of this technology. So I think like everyone should be at least know about cryptocurrencies. Internally out of it.
True. So I think the real drive for your into your cryptocurrency should be drive
Yeah.
and the investment, because I do see a lot of questions. What if Bitcoin? What if this gets banned? I mean, the reason I'm into it because I just love the technology. I just love the thing. It's gonna the way the economy is gonna change. The financial system is gonna change, and that is what keeps me pure. And not just the money. I mean, there's only so much money that you want. Today, if you have like 100 bitcoins, you're done. So yeah, I think that's most important. So always, guys, if I mean, this is what I think, that always look at the technology, and if you're able to figure out the technology, the money will come with it.
Yeah, if you keep yourself up to date, if
Exactly.
you are aware of what's happening around, what people are doing, what innovations are coming, yeah, hell yeah.
Tell me about Ripple. What happened with Ripple? Why did Ripple
Rise.
yeah, no, Ripple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ripple is interesting. Recently, I think there was some news about some banks sort of adopting Ripple. And Ripple is not yet gone mainstream. I mean, not yet gone live as of such. They're still trying to get banks to adopt the technology. Even then, whatever has happened so far with Ripple, the sudden pricing, I think, is still small as to what actually will happen when Ripple goes live.
Maybe I'm sure a lot of people.
I think
know.
this small prices it went from 25 cents to 40 cents, right? Which is just a 2x.
Which is not very huge, I would say, because I've seen, like, for example, Verge was about 300% up.
Yeah.
Which is like a privacy based cryptocurrency. So
times 8x.
8x exactly. And
Even Litecoin.
Litecoin has gone up. Litecoin has surprised everybody.
No, well, it's
Litecoin is undervalued actually.
I feel it's undervalued. Yeah. So Litecoin is supposed to be the silver to Bitcoin. Right. But the thing with Litecoin is that there's a proper founder, and it's scalable. It has implemented Lightning Network, which means in Bitcoin, if you were to send one Bitcoin to you, from me to you, the transaction fees, it's like what? 20. Which in Litecoin, it's a few cents, right? And in Bitcoin, if I were to send one Bitcoin to you, I have to wait 30 minutes before I actually can confirm that it's been sent to you. Whereas in Litecoin, it's 6 minutes, 2 minute blocks, right? So it's I think I love Litecoin. I think it is still undervalued at this stage. It behaves a lot like Bitcoin. Bitcoin has 21 million Bitcoins. Litecoin has 75 million Litecoins. So there's a limited supply of Litecoins. I just hope that Litecoin keeps the way it is, keeps growing on.
Are there any questions? Because I don't see any questions. Is there any questions that we can answer? So let's take some questions if there are any, and then I think you should be here. Okay. There are many questions, so let's take some of them. Steve.
Okay, so Rahul Afzal says, will the price of Bitcoin go up? Yeah, of course it will. I think, it's definitely, so there is limited supply, increasing demand. Of course the price will go up. even if it goes down a certain bit, I know I can name you 100 people who will tell me that, you know what, I'm gonna buy at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, people do buy at the dip. So, yeah. But having said that, guys, this is nowhere investment advice. Do your own research. It's just the prediction. It's just a volatile market. So, yeah.
So if one earns through ICOs, is he oh, tax, interesting. So if you make money out of cryptocurrencies, most likely it's going to be taxed as capital gains,
Which
which
is
is
30%.
30%. If I were you, I would probably, I would probably not liquidate my bitcoins or liquidate my cryptocurrencies or ICOs because I would probably put it into another cryptocurrency. Um, but yeah, no, if you most likely listen to whatever your CS says. We're not CAs, we really can't give that.
Correct. Actually, the tax. I think the best person to talk about it would be your CA. He can actually probably tell you how to get the taxation done.
Right.
What are the other questions we have?
Okay, let's see here. One second, guys.
Yeah.
What year is it?
Yeah.
Okay, what other questions do we have?
I don't see anything on my here, so yeah, I have a few questions.
Perfect.
It's not coming up here.
An SMS and email from ZPay also has a Twitter and they can bit. Yeah, so ZPay is asking for second verification, asking for all bank details, last 3 years of IT returns, 3 month bank statement.
Ask for the information. Why would ZPay ask for this?
Okay, so here's the thing, right? They
Exactly.
so 3 years of IT returns is this seems off.
Yeah, I mean, ZPay wouldn't ask for it. All that ZPay wants is ZPay wants to know who you are. So for that, they want your PAN card, they want your Aadhaar card, they want bank. That's it. That's all the bank ZPay should be asking for.
So there was recent news about the IT raids happening on Indian exchanges. Maybe it could be something related to that. But usually what an exchange should ask for is for your PAN card, your Aadhaar, and maybe a bank statement. So
You have tea, coffee,
no. Cool. So what else do we have? Saying government is saying if you are making money, give us 30% tax. If you lose money, it's your problem. We don't recognize Bitcoin as a currency.
Which is kind of it makes sense to me, I mean,
Well, I think our government can make. It's good that our government makes money from
100%.
as earns something out of cryptocurrencies and they tax it properly.
Instead of going ahead and banning all.
So if they ban it, that's sad. I mean, but here he's saying that it's right now not. They're looking to ban it, but they're still taking tax from us. So I mean,
governments want a piece of crypto.
Yeah, so
no. So the thing is that the problem here is that it is still not well defined. What crypto is. Business expense or whether it's capital gains, right? It's still not well defined, which is why, obviously, if you have, you need to pay tax, right? So if you have money coming into your Indian, say, your savings account, right, into your bank account, Indian bank account, you would have to pay tax, right? And so right now it's still in a gray area, So we don't. Let's just hope they do something about it.
yeah, I mean, and I don't mind if they're taxing it. I mean, as long as there is a regulation, I think people should be okay with the tax as long as there is a defined law around it, which is better than going all and banning it all. So one thing is for sure, guys. I mean, we all talk about regulation. So I do think that if at all there's a regulation, then taxation will be there. I mean, I don't think there'll be a regulation without taxation. So, yeah. Okay, what are the other questions?
So if I never withdraw my BTC, will the government still tax me? No, they cannot tax you because coins, it's not controlled by any government. the only thing you'll be paying for is transaction fees. You will not pay tax for how much bitcoins you hold, which is why I would never convert my bitcoins back to INR. I would convert it. I will never convert it to
Even
anything.
spending cryptocurrencies will not be taxable.
Will not be taxable.
Yeah, so sending bitcoins to another company or sending bitcoins to your friend to pay your rent and everything, because that's in Bitcoin, right? Now, the moment that Bitcoin is converted into a fiat currency like US dollar or Japanese yen or Indian rupee, right? That's when it starts to get taxed. If you hold Bitcoin, no one can do anything
True, I
with
mean,
that.
exactly. I'll listen until you're, but we'll have to see how actually the taxation will look. Because this is how we want to look at, but we really don't know what the taxation authorities will come. More probably they want to tax between Bitcoin to Bitcoin, and but it'll be difficult for them as to how to actually track, and things like that. But of course, that is something we will see that in the future. What else we have?
I'm writing a thesis. Sumit says that I'm writing a thesis about blockchain for India, any optimization of blockchain for Indian public welfare. So our country is still it still has to cross a technological barrier. So having to see crypto or blockchain, right, going mainstream here is going to take a lot of time. But with that being said, there are a lot of interesting startups, interesting technologies where people are trying to do something in the blockchain for the rural class people, here in India. But the thing is that India does not have the infrastructure yet. We are still developing it. It's going to take a lot of time. Um, but so yeah, I think we're still in a nascent stage.
Also, tell us, Steve, because I do get a lot of questions on this. So a lot of people out there are probably a developer, probably a programmer or coder. And what are the opportunities do you see for them into this blockchain space? Because Bitcoin blockchain is not just about Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency. There are so many other industries which are being built up. So, what opportunities do you see for somebody who's a coder or programmer or developer? What kind of opportunities do you see for them? And where should they actually look out for such kind of opportunities?
So if you're a programmer, developer, or a coder, look at creating smart contracts. Look at creating applications on the blockchain, because if you're a coder, developer, programmer, right, you will find that there are very few of you, very few people who know how to create applications on the blockchain, and hence there's a demand for you guys, right? There's demand for you guys, which implies that you will get paid more. So look at creating smart contracts on Ethereum. Look at creating ICOs for people. That's something that you can do.
Awesome, awesome.
There's this guy, Wenki says that he's using an NRE account to buy Bitcoin, but the amount is not credited once he withdrew from UnoCoin. Well, so UnoCoin and all these different exchanges, Indian exchanges, are facing a lot of traffic.
True.
They're facing at least a 10 or 50 times surge in the traffic that they get. And the big guys like UnoCoin, ZepPay, in my experience, the customer support has not been that great. So what I would suggest is that whenever you withdraw bitcoins or anything from any of these exchanges, always try with a small amount first, like a small amount of bitcoins first, and then try and withdraw the entire amount, deposit or withdraw the entire amount. Now essentially every time you withdraw money from UnoCoin, for example, they take at least anywhere from 30 minutes to 6 hours
Yeah.
to
credit
to
that.
sort of make the transaction, and they do an NEFT transfer, meaning your your deposit gets processed on the next working day. So there might be some lag for you, but you really should not lose your money in that.
True. I mean, what happened is ever since this, we heard about the income tax surveys on the exchanges. A lot of people are still stuck with their KYC. So a lot of people I heard telling them, yeah, I will be stuck in the traffic. I will be stuck in the KYC, and the Bitcoin price will go to 1 million. So that's the scene right now. And right from ZepPay, UnoCoin, they're all facing a huge workload. I think the Coinex as well. Coinex is also not taking any more KYC, I guess, if I'm right. I think the only guys which are functional right now is CoinDelta and CoinSecure, I guess. But probably, yeah. So go ahead and check these out if possible. What else we have?
So I like to add
Yeah.
something to that question with Sumit Kumar. So like he was thinking about like any optimization for blockchain for Indian people. So like there is interest in tracking properties through blockchain.
Right. True.
Yeah.
True. True.
So
True.
like there is something like that, and any sort of decentralization technology would be great for India, like because we have such a massive population. So normal solutions might not work.
I think land fraud is one of the topmost fraud right now.
Yeah.
And if you can put land registry on blockchain,
Yeah.
nothing like it.
Yeah, Adil here, so Sumit has a question which will follow up. Adil says, what slab will I fall as I've invested in sites like Genesis Mining, Hashflare, Hashing 24? He doesn't hold any Bitcoin, but he gets daily returns.
Mining contracts.
So I really don't know. I think you should really ask your chartered accountant on this. I mean, essentially, the moment it gets converted to INR, it has to be categorized into some
I think
one of those categories.
what do you think? I mean, it may fall into business income, which is usually
No, it looks
3%.
like capital gains. But to be honest, we really don't know much
Yeah, we
on this context.
Correct. We wouldn't be able to talk
Yeah,
on
so
that.
talk to your CA. He will be the best person to guide you. So Sumit says that the Andhra Pradesh government initiating blockchain for land records, better to just start and dominant will follow.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. They actually, I think Andhra Pradesh government has been very accepting of.
You know what? I met him, the one who is driving the entire project. I met him twice in the blockchain conferences. An amazing guy. Yeah, so that's something to look out for.
So yeah, I just wish more states, more states will accept blockchain. It's still very technical. It's really hard to explain to people who are just getting introduced to the internet itself.
Correct.
Like majority of like not majority anymore, but a significant portion of the population are still yet to be exposed to smartphones and internet, right? But with that being said, yeah, at least the blockchain technology is slowly getting there. It is slowly getting into our lives, into the lives of Indian people. So yeah.
That's amazing. What else? So done?
Yeah, I think we'll just take two more questions. There are.
Okay.
So Ashwin says, which is a good exchange that pay over coin? What do you guys think?
I think both are good because one of the reason I like ZipPay or Monocoin is, let's face the fact. I mean, a lot of people who gets introduced to Bitcoin for the first time, if you give them like something like Coinex or Coin Delta, they'll get confused. You have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum, you have Litecoin. What do I buy? So this is where I think ZipPay and Monocoin are pretty user friendly because they just have Bitcoin and it's very simple. Download the app, do your KYC just like use any other app, and make your first purchase. So I think both are good that way. Wouldn't be able to rate as to which is better. But from my personal experience, I would say UnoCoin has been more responsive when it comes to customer support.
I like Coinex and CoinDelta. My reasons for them is that the prices are my only issue with the UnoCoin and ZPay is that they did decide the prices, and
True.
for me
That's the difference. Yeah.
for me that's important because if you are a person who wants to get things at a good rate, then it has to be transparent.
Yeah, so I think here's the difference. So Unocoin and this ZPay is more of a shop. So they hold an inventory of Bitcoin and they decide the price, like you rightly said.
Right.
But when it comes to Coinex and CoinDelta, this is basically a trading platform. So I can quote my own price and I can look for a buyer, and then So I think that's where the difference is. And yes, you do have a difference in the pricing. The CoinDelta and Coinex, I think, at a cheaper rate compared to the ZPay and Unocoin.
So yeah, I think we'll just take one last question.
Okay.
Which are the best institutes for blockchain courses in India?
You would be the best person to.
Do you want me to disappoint you?
There's
There's
none.
nothing.
There's none.
There is nothing in India, guys.
There are a lot
Yeah.
of people who say that they know blockchain and they'll educate you on blockchain. But to be honest, you really need to spend, they have not even spent time in the crypto space to call
Yeah.
themselves blockchain experts. And oh my God, it is so annoying at times.
And
So if you want more information on understanding on I don't think there are courses in India. I think there is something in Coursera.
Coursera, yeah. Coursera and
has,
Blog Geeks. What do you think about Blog Geeks?
I have no, I don't
Okay,
know.
okay.
But in India, I highly doubt. I've met a few people who are doing some courses in blockchain, and to be honest, they don't know what they're doing. Um, in abroad, maybe you might find some resources, but there's a lot of information online. There are a lot of YouTubers like Shiv who explain content and educate you on the blockchain. And so crypto and Bitcoin and blockchain has a lot of content on YouTube, and so you can follow that to learn more stuff.
Great. So let me say a hi, a couple of people. So I have Dhaval here, I have Darshan, I have Kever, Venkatesh, Vasap, Rola, Tamilian, Sumit, Prakhar, iTuber, Sayed. Uh, Great. Satyajit is here. Venki is here.
These are your
Ashwin,
regular.
Raja. Yeah, I mean, just great,
Lovely,
guys.
lovely meeting
Good
you
to,
guys.
good to see you all here. And thank you for the questions. Thank you for joining us here on the live session. And we'll keep doing more because there is a lot that we have to learn and understand and grow. So, and there's a lot that we can discuss as well. So, the space is booming like anything. The prices are going up. The adoption is, rapidly increasing. So let's be connected. Thank you so much for joining. Chief, anything, any last message you want to
No.
share? Yeah, go ahead, download the Crypto Control, guys. Crypto Control, get that on your phone. You can add the portfolio, how much coins you have. Don't just show that to anybody. Otherwise, everybody will know how much cryptocurrencies you have. Keep it safe with you and read out the news. Thank you so much, guys. Anything you want to add?
No, lovely. Thank you, Shiv, for doing this.
yeah, thanks.
Thank you, guys. See you. Take care.